know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail.
And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Welcome in, folks. Go ahead and close the door behind you on your way inside and have a seat. It's time to review this Cultur Report episode that you're going to have right before you. Yes, your one-stop think tank serving as an informative, safe haven focused on the prime benefit of Black people, Black empowerment. I'm your gracious host, HT. Right beside me is my brother at arms, ID. And by the way, don't forget to hit those likes and subscribe buttons. Without further ado, though, let's begin. Folks, in January 2019, the Empire show actor Jussie Smollett reportedly staged a fake hate crime against himself in Chicago, Illinois, and later was said to have made false police reports regarding the incident. In December 2021, Jussie was convicted of 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct stemming from the incident 3 years later, and he was sentenced in March of 2022 to 150 days in county jail, owes a $20,106 restitution fee to Chicago and a maximum $25,000 fine. However, Jussie was released from jail on bond 6 days after sentencing, and while his case is on appeal, now Jussie's he's suing the Osundario brothers and another attorney for defamation. With that said, ID, is Jussie on a hunt to reclaim his credibility from being quote unquote lied on, or are Jussie's lawsuits just a means to reverse public embarrassment for a hoax gone wrong?
It's definitely the hoax gone wrong. First of all, shout out to HT, man. Like, platform's amazing, man. Salute to you, HT.
Hey, salute to you for being a contributor.
Going crazy right now, but like I said, the Jussie Smollett situation is really, like, honestly, the cap of the century. He's the capper of the century. Like, understand, if this hoax that he did would have played, he would have been the gay Tupac. He would have been that beacon that culture needed to basically create an issue that wasn't even there, a narrative that's not even there. Nobody in Chicago screaming out MAGA country or anything like that, or oppressing somebody because of their sexuality. Let's be clear. You know what I'm saying? Is Jussie a great actor? Yes. Is he a talented musician? Yes. But to me, I think sometimes people bite off a little bit more than they can chew, and they want to be bigger than who they really are. And that's the issue with Jussie Smollett, is he comes from a family that pretty much runs Chicago. They're connected to the Obamas. They're connected to Miss Fox, which is a district attorney. That's why when it got too hot, she got out of there. So at the end of the day, now he was left by himself. And so because they spent so much time, because people actually believed it, that's what's crazy about it, is people believed Jussie and wanted to basically find the offenders. But when we found out they're basically his trainers, and that he gave them a check for training them, and then there was no DNA on the actual rope. Come on, man. All the hours that they spent doing that, when Chicago has real problems, real crimes, real issues going on, and they spent so much time and overtime doing all this stuff to try, because this was a national situation going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it was getting a lot of attention. And pretty much you put a black eye not only on Chicago, but the police department. So, of course, they're going to want to do get back. And so a lot of this, yes, it was get back. It had nothing to do with him being gay. Had nothing about him being a part of any culture or his sexuality. This was you basically staging a hoax. Let's be clear. Right. And because your family has political, tentacles in Chicago, you think you can do whatever you want. Right. Even if you got a little too hot. You know what I'm saying? When they found out, you was capping. So was the jail sentence a little too much? Yes. But hey, man, at the end of the day, they want that perp walk. You know what I'm saying? That's what they really wanted, man, to feel good about spending that, $150,000 or the amount of money that they had to spend on the actual police work. So do I think he's going to go back to jail? No. Was his sentence harsh? Yes. But to me, when you basically embarrass a city, I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, whoever, you're going to get a spanking. And that's what they try to do with Jussie, aka Juicy. Pause. But at the end of the day, I think he'll get probation, and then at some point this will go away. But his name is tarnished. Let's be 100. And right. I know it went in, man. But what's your thoughts on this, HT?
No, his name is tarnished, and I do agree as well that the Chicago PD, Chicago Police Department, has been embarrassed by this whole situation just from the beginning of this hoax's inception. Jussie Smollett, he can try to file any lawsuit that he wants to, but virtually no one believes this clown.
No,
he's a proxy or a symbolic representation of what the upper echelon of the dominant society attempted to prop up in the spotlight as some ideal black homosexual male for black people to peak, for our interest as black people to be piqued in order to lend our support for or toward. But for the most part, we immediately knew that this counterfeit rookie, he was pretty much full of it as a guilty fraud. So right. Am I glad that he's free thanks to some of the upper echelon movers and shakers making this happen for him in the shadows? Personally, I really don't care if he's free or not. However, it is funny how countless other folks from the other side of the color spectrum have been able to generate false police reports and get away with things of the like in order to ultimately, again, get away with doing such things, even with the police knowing about it in a lot of cases. Really, Jussie was criminally wrong for staging a hate crime that never happened and writing false reports to the CPD. No doubt about that. However, former officer Jason Van Dyke, he wrote false reports to his own police department as well at the time. But he actually murdered a 17-year-old named Laquan McDonald in 2014. So though Van Dyke was in prison for a measly 3 years and actually being released this past February of 2022 regarding the murder, you guys out there in the audience, you guys tell us which case study is worse between a real murderer in Van Dyke and a phony victim here in Smollett. But solely getting back to the Jussie situation real quick, though, his reputation, as ID said, it's shot. It's shot amongst the grassroots and just across the board. The Osundario brothers, they can't even land gigs and acting as they once were able to, here and there. And Jussie, I think, am I saying that his career is over? Not necessarily, but his credibility is certainly shot. And Black folks in the society in large, we see him for the opportunist that he really is. And we'll just have to see what kind of hoax, swindle, or flim flam he may try to pull next that we're really not interested in. But any further thoughts, brother?
One question I have for you. Do you think he'll ever say that he was wrong?
No. The victim narcissist in him won't allow it. I mean, when you see how he acted in court, and even to, again, filing the lawsuit against another attorney in addition to his former trainers, the Osundario brothers, no, I completely do not see him rescinding any of his false accusations that was put out there in the public eye and ear. Your thoughts, though?
This is the thing, man. We at Cultur Report, man, we respect our brothers. This platform is for the all Black men. Let's not even say heterosexual. All Black men, man. We salute y'all. We want y'all to win. We just want you to win fairly. You know what I'm saying? And we want you to win the right way. Right. And with Jussie, man, everybody needs a second chance, but the second chance starts with the truth.
It does.
It can't the second chance can't start until you're honest about your actions. And that's what men do. If we mess up, we say we admit it. and we move on. And that's when people really start giving you a second chance at, life or whatever mistake you made. And so at the end of the day, until he basically confesses about what he did, I don't really want to see him again. And that's a brother saying that, man. I don't want to even see him on no show.
There's no need.
I don't want to see anything. And the brother's talented, man. And he really didn't have to do that, but that ego is crazy. And anytime you put pride before anything, destruction is going to come. So that's my final thoughts, man, on Jussie Smollett. And hopefully this is the last time we talk about him, unless he has a change of heart or has a conversation with God and has that come to Jesus moment. And he starts basically confessing his sins and then starts moving on as being the great black man that I think he can be.
There you have it, man. Well said, ID. Well said. Something you said earlier served as a reminder when you mentioned Kim Foxx, Cook County attorney. Kim Foxx, her office attempted to drop Jussie's charges until the state stepped in, as basically you were saying in so many words, in your own words. Her office decided to attempt to drop the charges until the state stepped in, the state of Illinois, to take over her decision to basically to say otherwise. The state stepped in to say, hey, look, we got to step in and make sure that this guy gets prosecuted, charged, the whole nine. And like you said as well, she was investigated by a special prosecutor for her apparent involvement in tampering with this case, which, by the way, it's not a good look for re-election, by the way, which might explain why she's trying to ease back from supporting Jussie as she once did. Senator Cory Booker and Vice President Kamala Harris, they're not vocally supporting Jussie as they initially did. And if you notice, LGBTQ groups, they didn't back Jussie throughout this 3-year investigation, trial, and sentencing, and they still don't support him even after his 6-day release from jail. So no wonder he mostly leaned on his fake pro-blackity black American outrage after being sentenced. He felt like his back was against the wall and he had to lean on his acting skills or lack thereof. But nonetheless, so much for thinking society places sexuality over race, Jussie. If you didn't learn anything, hopefully that's a lesson for you and your family. But guess who else still isn't falling for Jussie and his brother's quote unquote straight black man and black community being so-called homophobic bashing? Black America. We weren't and won't be crying out en masse about how much of an injustice Jussie's sentencing was, since we know he's a clear as day, low-level charlatan about most everything he says and does. And don't expect us to show major support for who appears to be a victim narcissist anytime soon. In the meantime, though, let us know what your overall thoughts are regarding the Jussie Smollett case. Is he guilty or innocent? Does the guy stand a chance to reclaim solidified notoriety in the spotlight anytime soon? Let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are. And also check us out on Patreon here or over on Patreon, where we host our more exclusive videos and topics discussed. We definitely want to thank you all for joining us on this program of the Cultur Report. ID brother, always a pleasure. And until next time, meeting adjourned.